Hey, how's it going, guys? Today's topic, I want to discuss when can you withdraw money from your 401k account. And really, before going into the details on when you're eligible to do these 401k withdrawals, I want you to fixate on the mindset of, am I trying to pull out monies from my 401k for some sort of income goal for retirement or some sort of growth related goal for retirement? Because if it does not relate to an income or growth related goal, it may not make sense to go and try to take out monies from your 401k account. So, before going into the details on the income and the growth related goals and then kind of fixating on those two main areas, when is somebody actually eligible to do these rollovers or do some sort of withdrawal from their 401k account? And the first really easy example would be if somebody hits age 59 and a half. So in some instances, employers will not allow this when somebody hits age 59 and a half, but for the most part, typically if somebody's working for a company and they hit age 59 and a half, so they're age 60, 61, whatever that is, and even if they don't hit that retirement age just yet, maybe they want to retire at 65 or 66 or 67, whatever that is, once they hit 59 and a half, they could take out typically all or a portion of their 401k account and either take that in the form of a withdrawal or take that in the form of a rollover and roll it over into an IRA and create a better customization, a better opportunity to accomplish your income or your growth related needs. Another way on how somebody could or is eligible to withdraw their 401k monies is if they have an old 401k. So maybe this was at a previous employer where you're no longer working for that employer. So, you started working for an employer in your 30s and you're working there for 10, 15 years. You've accumulated this 401k account. Then you went over to a new employer and you realize, hey, that these monies are still sitting with that old employer. Why am I doing that? Why don't I just go and consolidate these monies and either transfer it to my new employer plan or roll that over into an IRA so that it'll be more effective for what you're trying to accomplish on a retirement side. The third aspect would be if there's changes to the plan when working. So maybe you might have Fidelity as your custodian with your 401k account, but then there's a change that's taking place. Whether that's a match that's different or there's a new custodian that's coming in there, such as Vanguard, and they're now going to service or be the custodian of your 401k account. During that little grace period, there may be eligibility to say, okay, because we're making these changes, you're eligible to take your 401k out and roll it into an IRA. So if you've ever been given that opportunity, does it make sense to take advantage of that situation, or does it make sense to just stay put within that plan? So this is for the individual that's still working for their company. Maybe they're not quite 59 and a half yet to do that in-service opportunity, but they still want to take advantage of their 401k, utilize those dollars that they've already accumulated, but then put it to better use on either an income trajectory or a growth related trajectory. And then lastly, when somebody retires from their employer plan. So really kind of, in similarity to step two, because technically if you're no longer working there, you're eligible, just like if you had an old 401k, you're no longer working there. So very similar, but let's say if you stop working, you send in your retirement papers and it says, okay, I stopped working at 65 or 66 or 63 or whatever that is, you're no longer working with that employer. That's when you're eligible to either take out withdrawals from that 401k, take out lump sums and do transfers or rollovers into IRA accounts, or roll those dollars over and create them on some sort of income or growth related strategy. So those are really the four main areas on how somebody's eligible for their 401k. But back to the conversation, why would you want to actually take out withdrawals from this? And does it make sense to stay in the 401k? What are some of the benefits of staying put versus rolling it out or taking withdrawals and creating your own customization, your own customized plan? And will that work out in a more mathematically effective route? So as I navigate the conversation to the income or the growth related need, at any point in time, if there's a specific example or something that I mentioned that resonates with you and you want to hear further information, I'm going to have our calendar link to set up a free 20-minute strategy session in the description of this video. And then also you could feel free to give our 1-800 number a call. It's 1-800-566-1002. So to get started, an income plan or an income-related play, what is the difference between leveraging your current 401k account and just trying to grow and stay the course with utilizing your current 401k account versus rolling it over into customized IRA options that could put you towards a better trajectory and accomplish your income related needs better than just staying put with your current 401k account. And the first bullet point is portfolio is not a plan. So too often individuals just try to grow their money in their 401k account. They're adding contributions to their plan. They're getting matching money from their employer. And then they're just staying very aggressive with their allocation strategy to try to grow that bucket, grow that bucket, grow that bucket. And that definitely makes sense, but it is based on what stage you are in the retirement game. Because if you're younger, in your 30s, your 40s, you may have more time horizon to have those ebbs and flows in the market, to have those little dips in the market, so that if the market drops 20%, you could capture that gain of another 20% the next year, or pick back up on any sort of losses. So you have time for the ebb and basically the volatility within your more aggressive allocation. When you start nearing retirement, let's say you're 2, 3, 5 years out from retirement, that's where that window gets very small, and that's where that room for error is very costly if you experience that downside right before you're going to retire, right when you're going to be hitting that ideal retirement date. So it's typically wise to go from a wealth accumulation mindset into a wealth preservation and distribution mindset. Rather than just try to grow my portfolio, try to hit this number of $1.2 million or $750,000, whatever that number is in your mind, that number will not make sense if you do not have a plan behind it. So a portfolio is not a plan. When you're going and you're eligible to take monies out of your 401k, you could go customize that into an IRA or multiple IRAs and actually segment that into a specific plan. So you could say, okay, at age 65, this is when I want to retire. I want to make sure that I'm traveling, the United States or traveling the world for these first couple of years. So I'm going to be on the go. So I want to make sure that my expenses are correlated to what that specific need is. So maybe I'm going to create some sort of cash flow related strategy, different things that are not eligible with just a basic 401k account. That you're subject to just those limited funding options. By placing into an IRA, you could create that towards more of that income related trajectory. So you could say, okay, for these first couple of years, I know that I need to have X amount of dollars coming to me for cash flow. So I'm going to make sure that these dollars are padded up and these are set up on my specific income related needs. Maybe after 5 years, you're going to have a decrease in expenses or an increase in expenses. So you want to make sure that you're creating some sort of laddering and you're layering out what your income trajectory is. When you step back and you're looking at your current 401k account, all it says is, okay, I'm putting monies in there, I'm getting a match on this, and it's growing. But there's no real strategy that you could create from an income related side. From an IRA perspective, it's about calculating what your expenses are now, calculating what your expenses are going to be at your ideal retirement age, really figuring out what that ideal retirement age is, and then layering them out. So maybe, when you hit that ideal retirement date, you say, okay, I want to make sure that I at least have a portion of dollars sitting in a safety play in case of a rainy day fund, an oh my gosh type moment. So I want to have a portion of, let's say if somebody has $1 million 401k account, I want to segment at least $100,000 towards something that I could easily access, that I could, touch these dollars, take withdrawals at the drop of a hat in case of an oh my gosh moment was to occur. Then you have another layer that says, I want to segment these dollars for income. And more importantly, I want this income to last for as long as I do, or me and my spouse does. So maybe out of that, remaining 900,000, an individual's taking 300,000, they're creating some sort of income related play to give them some sort of baseline to say, okay, Social Security income, pension income, if you're fortunate to have a pension, and then also what my savings income strategy is, that those three layers correlated together or combined together is what's going to give me my baseline to at least hit my everyday expenses, my necessary expenses throughout retirement. Whatever I don't use up. So in that scenario, the individual leveraged 100,000 towards their safety play, 300,000 towards their income related play, and now they have 600,000 remaining that they could splice up into different areas on their growth. And now that brings me to the next section is, if income is not one of your major goals because maybe for whatever reason you're going to have an inheritance that's coming to you on a monthly basis, or you have pension income and Social Security income, and the combination of those two is going to more than cover what your expenses are. income planning is definitely necessary when it comes to retirement planning, because if you don't have an income, you don't have a retirement. But for those individuals that are fortunate enough to have already scheduled, already created those income sources where they no longer have to go back to work, it makes this growth conversation very simple. And really with those, when I'm talking about layering the buckets and saying you want to make sure you have a safety bucket, you have an income, trajectory bucket, and then you have that growth, anything left over, any of those ancillary monies can be set up on that growth related play. That's what this section is referring to. So to have that growth conversation, what is the difference between your current 401k versus taking monies out of your 401k, rolling it over into an IRA or multiple IRAs so that you're creating a more effective growth strategy than just leaving it in your current 401k account? And it really comes down to limited options versus unlimited options. So with your 401k, like I mentioned previously, you're adding contributions into that plan. Your employer is adding matching dollars, or that's typically the incentive to add dollars into your traditional 401k account, is because the employer is saying, hey, if you stay here, you stay a loyal employee, we're going to also be giving you, think of it like free money, or extra contributions into your 401k account. So the combination of your contributions and the matching money is obviously adding positives to that bucket. The downside to it, or really the struggle that could be a hindrance towards 401k accounts, is the amount of investment options available within that 401k. So typically, rule of thumb is that an individual is only going to have about 15 to 25 options or eggs in their basket to choose on what's going to determine their rate of return. So let's say if somebody just goes and they're making contributions and they're getting matching money and they decide, hey, I'm going to place all my dollars towards my stable value fund, my fixed account that's offered with my 401k account. Well, we do know that that's going to be a constant positive rate of return. The downside to that is typically stable value funds and fixed related accounts are not going to be able to beat pace with inflation and keep up with inflation. So you're going to have that inflationary risk. So that's where individuals will open up the lid and say, okay, well, what are some of my other options available? And this is where these limited funding options come in and could be a detriment, because there's only so much juice that you could squeeze out of those 15 to 20, 25 options. If you go and you take your monies and you're eligible to withdraw or roll your monies out of the 401k account, you have unlimited options. It's thousands of different eggs in your basket to choose from. So even if you're comparing just the fixed accounts alone, you could say, okay, a stable value fund, which is paying me X amount percentage, versus going into whatever the top short-term money market accounts are, or short-term bank CD route is, or I want to have a fixed rate of return for these next 5 years before I hit my retirement date. Whenever you're comparing the apples to apples, it's just saying, okay, do you want to have 20 eggs in your basket, or do you want to have thousands of eggs in your basket? When you have all of those different opportunities and thousands of different options to choose from, you could have a higher quality at a lower cost. You could really cherry pick what's going to be the most mathematically effective to reduce volatility on your portfolio and give your account a better trajectory towards growth. So that's the major difference when it comes to limited options versus unlimited options. Now, a large misconception is the matching money. So let's say if somebody was eligible for a 401k withdrawal or rollover because they hit the age-based in-service withdrawal. So let's say they're 60 years old and they understand that they have $500,000 that was saved up in their 401k account, and they said, really, I just want to use this as a better growth play, but I don't want to shoot myself in the foot. I feel like if I take all my money out and I roll it over into an IRA, I'm going to lose that matching opportunity. And that is not the case. That is incorrect. And what I mean by that is the match is only based on your contributions. So in that example, let's say if you had $500,000 sitting in your 401k and you rolled it over into an IRA, well, your new starting balance on the 401k would be $0. The new starting balance on the IRA would be $500,000. That IRA is going to basically grow or drop based on what sort of investments that you've correlated with that, or that you've customized for that specific $500,000 and the different layering that you did with that IRA or multiple IRAs. And your 401k being at a $0 balance does not get impacted by what your matching money is. So like, as an example, if somebody's making $100,000 in a given year and they get a 5% match and they're putting $5,000 away into their 401k account, whether their account balance is sitting at $500,000 or sitting at $0, if they put $5,000 into their account and they're getting a 5% or $5,000 match, still $10,000 is going into that account on the contribution side. So in that example, at age 60, the individual rolled their money out. They set up their 500,000 towards an IRA and customized that better. Their new starting value on their 401k account was at $0, but they're now still adding monies into that 401k account so that for the next 5 years, they're making contributions and trying to grow up their 401k account until they hit their retirement date. I'm using 5 years because let's say if that individual wanted to retire at age 65, but now they basically have two buckets or two areas that are now optimized to each specific lane. They're not missing out on that matching opportunity. It's just the account balance on the 401k is different than what the contribution and the matching money is. So I hope that that makes sense. And really the third way on how an individual could grow their account better by either staying in their 401k or taking the monies out is if you're looking at it from a pre-tax perspective versus a tax-free growth perspective. And this is where Roth IRA conversions come into place. So if somebody is eligible to take their monies out or do a conversion, they could grow their money and they're taking it from pre-tax monies and they're converting into a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA grows tax-free. A traditional 401k is growing tax deferred, meaning that when you come to your ideal retirement date and you want to start removing monies or you want to start leveraging these accounts towards some sort of legacy play or some sort of growth related plan, the Roth IRA could be significantly more effective. So as you're still working, as you're still eligible for these 401k withdrawals, you could take portions of the 401k or all the 401k and you could go and convert those into Roth IRAs, putting you guys on putting your situation on a better trajectory and a more effective route from either a tax-free growth play or a tax-free income play, tax-free legacy play, whatever is most important to you. Also be mindful that Roth IRA accounts do not have required minimum distributions, where traditional accounts will have required minimum distributions. What a required minimum distribution is when you start nearing when you're in your 70s, and that's changed. It used to be 70 and a half for the longest time. Now it's 72, 73, 75, based on what age or what year that you were born, meaning that the government's going to force you to start taking out withdrawals with those pre-tax qualified accounts. When you have it in the Roth account, you do not have RMD, so you could just allow that money to constantly fester. You don't have to actually take out any dollars from that account. So there's very effective ways to grow your accounts better by taking it from the form of a withdrawal or a rollover and placing it into IRA accounts or Roth IRA related conversions. So in closing, if you found value in this video and you'd like to speak with one of our advisors, feel free to give our 1-800 number a call. It's 1-800-566-1002, or you can simply reference this video and you're eligible for a free 20-minute strategy session call. We want to make sure that it's at the convenience of your own home, that you could go and ask as many questions as possible, and then we will, answer accordingly. See, what would be the best route to handle your situation. See if there's different ways on how or why you should ever do, Roth conversions or 401k rollovers into IRAs, create income-related plans. We have a trademark process known as the retirement diet plan, where we segment your dollars into 4 main areas that are most important to you. But at first step, we want to make sure that there even is a problem with an individual's plan. Many times individuals give us a call, ask us for second, third opinions regarding their current trajectory. And then other times individuals will leverage our services and see whether or not we would be a fit to help out their specific situation. I want to thank you once again for watching this video. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Retire Sharp, so you can have access to the most updated videos. Thanks so much, guys.